This is Health and Fitness Redefined, brought to you by Redefine Fitness. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Health and Fitness Redefined. I'm your host, Anthony Amen, and today we got a super practical episode for you. Are you struggling to figure out how to lose weight? You're hearing all these people talk about calories, and you're like, Anthony, what is a calorie? How many calories do you have to consume? It all seems super complex, and I'm here today to give you a short snippet breakdown of how you can do this from home, calculate your own calories you need for the day, and we're gonna get rid of all the guesswork. So bear with me today. We're gonna run through some numbers. I'm gonna show you some hacks to make this super easy so you don't have to sit there and figure it out yourself, but let's break into it. So without further ado, let's welcome my handy dandy whiteboard. Congratulations, whiteboard, you made it. We're gonna talk about something we call BMR, which is also known as RMR. These are interchangeable words. What they stand for is Basal Metabolic Rate or resting metabolic rate. So how many calories a day do you as an individual burn at rest? If you laid in bed 24 hours a day, didn't move a single muscle, you're still gonna be burning an enormous amount of calories. Your brain's working, your heart's working, your muscles are still need blood transported to them. There's so many things going on inside of our bodies that we just burn a lot of calories in the day, even if we haven't moved at all. Wild, right? Here's where it gets even crazier. Science has shown us that for every pound of muscle you have on your body, you're gonna burn an extra 7 to 10 calories a day at rest. Think about that. So 10 pounds of muscle is an extra 70 to 100 calories a day at rest you're burning without even moving. That's why you see all these people at the gym working out, building muscle, and they're eating more and more and more food. Meanwhile, if we strip away our muscle tissue, for example, we do things that like super low calorie diets, or we just run too much, all the things we've talked about on this show. We hop on semaglutides, which are known to strip away your muscle tissue. We get bariatric surgery, which is known to strip away muscle tissue. We're gonna drop our metabolic rate because every pound of muscle we lose, we're gonna be burning 7 to 10 calories a day less, meaning now we have to eat less and less and less food, and not something we want, especially someone like me who's a giant foodie. So Anthony, how can I eat 3,000 calories a day, feel full, feel great, and not have to worry about gaining weight? Let's talk about that right now. So how do we calculate our BMR, also known as our RMR? Well, there's two leading equations. There's a bunch of them out there, but there's two specific ones I want to talk about because for me, they're the ones we use the most. So there's something called the Milford-St. Jeor equation, and there's something called the Cunningham-Ketch equation. Now, figuring out your BMR is super tough. You can do breathing tests. You can go into a lab and sit there and breathe into a tube, and it can get a pretty accurate description of how many calories a day you burn at rest. Or you could take a little bit of guesses based upon factors such as age, height, weight to figure how many calories a day you would burn as rest. And the reason there's two equations because there's one factor some people really don't have capability of getting, and that is body fat. How much a percentage of my weight is fat? People will make jokes and say, hey, I'm 95% fat. Obviously that's not true. You have bone, you have water, you have muscle, all those things add to weight in our bodies that aren't necessarily fat. So I can do things like bioelectrical impedance. You'll see scales, they have you take your shoes off, or there's little handheld devices we do at the gym, or there's things that can get more accurate, such as a DEXA scan. You're in a giant machine that takes about 5 minutes and figure out exactly even where your fat is. And that can give us an idea of how much of your weight, let's say it's 200 pounds, and 10% of you is fat, we know that's 20 pounds of fat that's on your body. So if you do not have your body fat percentage, we're going to use the Milford-St. Jeor equation. If you do know your body fat, you're going to use the Cunningham-Ketch equation. And I'm gonna start with that one because the equation's a little bit easier. And don't worry, if you can't see the board, I'm gonna show you a hack later in this video, how to figure this out right away without even being able to read this. And I'm gonna talk you through the whole process. So Cunningham-Ketch, it's 9.8 times your fat-free mass plus 370. That's it. What is fat-free mass? You take 1, minus out your body fat. So if it's, let's say, 10%, you take 1, minus out 1, you get 9. Bingo. Done. Do that, you have an equation. Now we're going to talk a little more about the Milford St. Jeor, and this is the one we're going to work through the entire process. So it's 4.54 times how much you weigh in pounds plus 15.88 times how tall you are in inches minus 5 times your age. And the end of this equation is men-women differential. So for men, we're going to add 5. For women, we're going to knock off 161. Reason being, men have more testosterone, men have more muscle in their bodies, women tend to have a lot less. Therefore, women burn slightly less calories a day than men do. So if I take all of that and I use my example is a male who's 35, 200 pounds, and 60 inches or tall. If I plug that in, what I get is 1,988 calories. That's how many calories this individual is going to burn a day at rest without moving. Super important we differentiate that. This person's not moving a muscle, not going to the bathroom. They're just laying in bed like a zombie for 24 hours. Now, here's the hack. Don't figure this out. Don't sit here and struggle with PEMDAS and trying to figure all this out. Just simply Google BMR calculator and you'll see it will ask which equation do you want. Choose the one you have based upon the metrics you have of yourself. Plug it in. Even simpler now, ask AI. Hey, ChatGPT, I want to use the Milford St. Jeor equation. I am this old, I weigh this much, I am this tall, and I'm a male. Please let me know how many calories a day I burn at rest. Hasn't life gotten so much easier than sitting here with a pen and paper trying to figure it out? So now, Anthony, I have this number. I have 1,988 calories. What do I do? Well, this is the tricky part. Activity plays a huge role. Do you walk? Do you get up and move around? Do you go for runs? Do you work out in the gym? Do you play sports? All of these things add how much we burn a day because we're burning calories to go do these. So most people, we usually tell them to times the calories. If they're super sedentary, they have a desk job, they just maybe go for a walk here and there. We times this about 1.2 to 1.3. So whatever 1,988, we're going to times that by 1.2 or 1.3 if we're sedentary. So we're not really that moving. Hey, Anthony, I joined Redefine Fitness. I'm working out. I'm doing about 2-3 days a week, 45 minutes a day weightlifting. What do I do? Well, I would say probably go between the 1.4 to 1.6 if we're just generally working out 2 to 3 days a week for about 45 minutes. Hey, Anthony, I am an athlete. I am super active 24/7. I am on the college basketball team. We're running drills all day. Or, hey, Anthony, I'm a contractor. I built homes all day. I'm on my feet. I'm moving sheetrock. I'm moving 2x4s. What do I do? Those people that are super high active, and guys, I'm talking, this is so rare. We can even go up to 1.7 to 2 times that number, but these are our super active people. So you're probably not going to be in there. We'll stick here. So to make matters nice, we'll do 1.5. So we'll go ahead and take out my handy dandy phone/calculator. 1.5 times 1,988. That gives me a grand total of 2,982 calories a day. That's how many calories a day a person working out 2 to 3 days a week, that is a male, 35 years old, 200 pounds, 60 inches tall, will burn typically throughout every single day. 2,982 calories. Now, what do I do with this information? Everyone says calories in, calories out. Is it true? Science says one thing, calorie specific is another. I don't want to bore you too much, so let's go simple to advanced. And if I lose you, don't worry. We'll pick things back up and I'll try to explain it ever again. So simply speaking, if I go ahead and I cross all this out over here, 1 pound of fat equals 3,500 calories a day. This works both ways. If I overeat this amount of 2,982 calories, I will gain roughly a pound of fat. If I undereat this amount, 3,500 calories, I will lose a pound. So let's say I want to lose 10 pounds of fat. How many calories do I have to consume less of? That is very simply 35,000 calories. Wow, Anthony, that sounds like a lot. Yes, it is, right? So the more you weigh, let's say you're in 280, 300, you're burning a lot of calories at rest. This number could be upwards of 5,000 calories if you are that overweight and you're active, right? Because weight plays a heavy role. We're timesing 4.54 times your weight into how many calories a day you're burning at rest. So that's why a lot of people who are that overweight lose weight so much quicker. And they say, oh my God, I lost 5 pounds in 2 weeks. Yes, some of it's water weight, but you're still burning some fat because you're burning at such a high metabolic rate. While other people who want to lose 10 to 20 pounds don't weigh that much, and they're like, I don't get it. I lost 5 to 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks, and then I plateaued, and then I only lost a pound a week. God, what's going on? Everything relates back to this. How much do you weigh, and how active are you, and how much muscle is on your body? So, if we go back to the example of 1 pound equals 3,500 calories, and we want to lose 1 pound per week, right? We take 7, divide that by 3,500 calories. That means 500 calories per day. If we lose that 500 calories per day, every day for a week, we will lose 1 pound. Over 4 weeks, we will lose 4 pounds. Great. Same goes the other way. If you even overconsume, let's say by 250 calories, which isn't that much for a lot of people, that's a glass of juice, and you do that for 2 straight weeks, you gain a pound. See how simple this is? But yet, you don't gain weight overnight, kind of like you don't lose weight overnight. It's such a complex thing that weighs in, and it's so few calories just stack and add on to each other, or stack and disappear from each other. Over time, they make dramatic differences. Now, let's go back to our example of, hey, Anthony, I want to lose a pound of fat every single week. You take 500 calories, and you minus that off of our number from over here, and what do we get? 2,482 calories. So if I ate, from my previous example, 2,482 calories, I would lose 1 pound a week, and I could just continue that. Obviously, I should always recheck my caloric BMR because my weight will change as I'm working out. Common mistake people always make. And I want to constantly go back to my activity level. What if I'm away for the week? What if something else comes up? Things happen in life. We totally understand that. So we always want to recalculate this equation, and we do this for people at our nutrition program, making sure we're constantly on top of this number. But now we have an idea. If I just eat basically 2,400 calories a day, I should theoretically lose a pound of fat. Same goes true the other way. Let's say I don't want to eat less. Anthony, I love food. I'm not eating under 2,900 calories a day. You know what? That's fine. What's another thing I could do? I could do activities equivalent to 500 calories a day. I can go for a 90-minute walk. I can double my workouts. I can do things like that to burn more calories a day, and then I don't have to change my caloric number whatsoever. Pretty neat, right? You're in full control. So if you want to have that martini, you can have that martini worth 300 calories. Just add 300 calories worth of activity at the back end, and basically it's free. Cool. Awesome. Now let's get complex. I'm going to keep our lovely little example off to the right. We all know there's 3 macronutrients, right? Proteins. Everyone's heard that. Fats. And carbs. These are our 3 macronutrients. Proteins, fats, carbs. All food is made out of them. I can look at these numbers on any nutrition label, not need to know the calories, just need to know how much protein, fats, or carbs are in, and figure out how many calories are associated with things. Why? Because I know the golden rule. What's the golden rule? Proteins and carbs both have 4 calories per gram. So, if I have 10 grams of protein, that's 40 calories. If I have 10 grams of carbs, that's 40 calories. Fats, on the other hand, and one of the biggest reasons that we always say, hey, check the amount of oil you're adding to your foods. Fats aren't just a little higher. It's 9 calories per gram. So just 1 gram of fat is, 10 grams of fat is 90 calories. Just from 10 little grams of fat. It seems so obsolete. That's why we always say, hey guys, check the amount of fats. Yes, fats are good for you, but they're heavy in calories. And we want to make sure we're constantly referring back to our little example over here of not going over that roughly almost 3,000 calories a day. Yeah, if this is good enough for you guys, take this, go with it. This is the simplest place to stop for a lot of people. It's, I have my calorie number, I have a general understanding of how many calories per gram of each macronutrient is, and just doing this, you're gonna be better than 90% of people out there. You're gonna have a way better clue of what exactly you need to do, and if you can't afford services or just don't want to, you can just figure this all out yourself. It is a lot easier than a lot of people make it seem. So this alone will help you lose weight, feel better. You don't need to track anything else, and you're still going to be better than 90%. I don't care where you get the calories from. For most people, let's just get the simple stuff done first, and you'll be good to go. Now for my people that want to get a little more advanced, if you're like me, you're like Anthony, 90% is good, but what about 95? I really want to truly understand this. We could break this down a little further. We're going to go to the golden apple. The golden apple, I've talked about so many times on this show. It is proteins. Why are proteins so important? Well, not only do proteins help build muscle. If you remember to my previous example, every pound of muscle burns an extra 7 to 10 calories a day at rest. We need to make sure we're having a complete amino acid profile, all of the amino acids in a chain that we don't naturally produce, right? They're essential amino acids. It means we don't produce them. That's all your dairy and your meat products have all complete amino acid profile, meaning they're true proteins and they totally count and bodies can use them. Our plants and stuff like that do not. So that's why it's important to understand essential amino acids. On top of that, not only do they help us build muscle and therefore increase how many calories a day we're burning at rest, they have something called the thermic effect, right? We know from physics, for those who want to think back, or just to even keep it simpler, if you hear the word physics and you run away like some people, it's just heat, right? Calories and everything else, it's just heat generation. It's like the simplest way to sum it up without boring everyone. Just think heat, right? So thermic effect, 20 to 30% of the amount of proteins you consume, your body has to burn calories to use, right? So if we take our example of 1 gram of protein, which we know is 4 calories, right? And we times that by, let's say, 25%, we'll meet in the middle. We know that it's actually only 3 calories, right? 25% of 4 is 1. So we know 4 minus 1 is 3. So protein, we said, 1 gram is 4 calories, but it's really not. Huh, pretty cool. We know that protein, 1 gram, if we take 4 minus out 1, is truly 3. It's sounding so much better now, isn't it? Wow, Anthony, I understand a little more about why you push protein so much. eat more protein. So we know that protein, if we just take out thermic effect, is 3 calories. Here's where it gets interesting. There really isn't science that I'm aware of. I could be wrong, and something could have came out yesterday or after this video was published, but as of this date in 2025, to show that these 3 calories get converted into fat. But that's it. There isn't really scientific evidence that the excess of protein you consume turns into fat. What it more shows is our body can hold on to it as reserves, use it when it's needed for muscle depletion and muscle growth, or waste it out of the body. So do protein calories even count? That's something people refuse to say online. I just said it. Does it even count? Go back to my example. If I take my lovely example over here of what a male, 35, 200 pounds, 60 inches, and his activity level we went 1.5, so 2,982 calories. Do I even add in the protein? What if I didn't? What if I added everything else but the protein? Oh, sounds like a win-win for me, right? More food in my belly. I'm happy. We don't know. That's the truth. There's never been a study to show otherwise. So I think it's worth the consideration, and why I always tell people, if you're going to track anything, track protein. So let's break this down a little more, right? So we can say, how much protein do I need to eat? Biggest question I get, a lot, right? We do know there's been a lot of studies showing how much protein can we eat in a day without having any complications. Obviously, there's special conditions, and I always like to preface that. There's people that are on any kind of medication or have any liver or kidney issues, always consult the doctor. But if you're healthy, young, you really have nothing to worry about. You can eat a lot of protein. They've even showed upwards of 4 grams per pound. So if I'm 200 pounds, as my example, and I'm eating 4 grams per pound, that's 800 grams, 800 grams of protein. Now, I take the 800 grams of protein, we said protein is 4 calories per gram. 8, 16, 24, 32. That's 3,200 calories in protein alone people are eating. Oh my goodness, that's an extreme example. Do not do that. So that's for our crazy bodybuilders, and it just shows that they're eating a lot of other stuff. So does protein even count? I don't know. All right, now for the normal population. Those like you and I, roughly 1 gram per pound. Right? Men, I always like to be at 1 gram a pound. It is higher than our recommended daily allowance shows, but we all know that's a bunch of horse, right? So let's stick to 1 gram a pound. Females, you can get away with like 0.7, 0.8. But for easy math, because everyone likes easy math, we're going to do 1 gram a pound. So really simply, 200 grams of protein, right? Equivalent to each other. So 200 grams of protein times 4 is roughly 800 calories of protein we're going to eat every single day. Or you want to go by gram wise, just say 200 grams. So does that 800 now get deducted from this 2982? I wouldn't, but it's up to you if you want to be super strict. Another tidbit to think about. So now we have an idea. If I look at this and I want to be super simple, Anthony, I don't want to figure out my calories. Anthony, I just want the world's easiest hack in the entire world. How do I lose weight? Help. I am completely useless. I don't understand everything. Or you're just like me and you're lazy. This is how I calculate my calories for the day. I just eat 200 grams of protein, and it's physically impossible unless you have like a bottomless pit to really overconsume calories if you just don't eat high sugary foods. So what I mean by that, if I eat real satiating foods, so I'm not like no juices, no soda, nothing that's No candy, super high caloric processed foods where we just ignore that altogether and we eat real food all the time, you're gonna be super full, like really full. And you'll pretty much always be under that number. So I just live by that because I don't want to sit there and calculate every single calorie and all of that stuff. The issue is the second you start adding in super high caloric foods, things that are packed with calories that are really bad, like your Cinnabons, your fast food, your juices, your sodas, calories stack quickly, and you're not, even if you're semi-satiated, you can get a lot of those juices down, so your calories are going to way through the roof. So super simple hack: eat 200 grams of protein or a gram per pound, depending on what you weigh. Eat real foods, and you'll lose weight that way. It's really simple, and you'll be healthier than most people in the world. Want to get more complicated? Eat 200 grams of protein. Figure out your calories based upon what we know from our macronutrients. Stay under 500 of what you burn a day. So going back to the 2982, if I ate 500 less, 2482, and in a week, I should lose a pound of fat. Also retain my muscle because I'm eating enough protein. Super important side of this. So my metabolic rate therefore should go up. And then every single week, I should be eating more and more and more and more and more calories, as opposed to typical dieting, which is less and less and less and less and less. Wouldn't we rather hit our protein goals, just stay 500 less, we're building muscle, and now we're gonna eat more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And soon enough, our metabolic rate's so high that we really don't have to track anymore because it's just getting hard to eat that way. And we got so accustomed to eating real foods, we don't crave sugar anymore, that now life's just good. All right, bonus tip for a lot of people. The secret sauce of bonus. Everyone in America knows exactly what this is. So let's break this down. There's something, and I'm sure you've never heard of it before, sarcasm, called alcohol. Why are we talking about this? Because it is important when it comes to calories. Alcohol has 7 grams. Backwards. 7 calories per gram, sorry. In it. There really isn't a significant difference between tequila, rum, vodka, whatever. It's just based off the proof, and we break down strict alcohol, so easy math, so 1 gram is about 7 calories. So if I have 10 grams of alcohol, I've already consumed 70 calories. Now let's say, Anthony, I'm having a margarita. Margarita mix can be upwards of 350 calories. That's without the alcohol. Then I say, Anthony, I like them strong, like most people. I don't want just a shot, I want 2. So we take this up, and we're roughly between 140 and 160 calories on top of that. Add that in. So let's say it's 150. Boop. 500 calories. Boom. From our margarita. Oh my God, that's a pound of fat. So 1 margarita equals 1 pound of fat. Crazy. On top of that, alcohol is the opposite of satiating. How many people have been hungover or tipsy, and what do? Go reach for the garbage, you're starving. Because it's not calorically satisfying food, alcohol. So we always reach for more, reach for more, reach for more. And that's why we always say drinking does not help with weight loss. It's the exact opposite. On top of that, overconsumption of alcohol, and overconsumption meaning, because it's important to identify things, is pretty much more than 2 drinks a day. 2 drinks, meaning 2 shots, 2 beers, 2 glasses of wine, not the pours you guys are doing on Saturday nights. I mean true pours. 2 times a drinks a day, and this is known to cause muscle loss. What do we say about muscle loss? Every pound of muscle we lose, 7 to 10 calories out the window. On top of that, your 2 drinks that you think are doing absolutely nothing and are totally healthy, you take those calories, even a glass of wine is roughly 250 calories. Times that by 2, 500 calories. On top of all the foods, and these are 500 fake calories, right? They do nothing for us, that means. You add that in, there's already your pound, that's why you're not losing weight. So for the majority of people that drink, I mean, you'll lose weight just by stop drinking. Your metabolism starts revving up, things start speeding up again. Alcohol is a depressant, right? It slows everything down. So we're slowing things down, and now we're burning less because we're feeling more rugged, we're working out less, we're moving less. So many issues with over-consuming alcohol. And look at those holy calories. And we say candy's bad for us. Way worse. Way worse. All right, last tidbit so we don't bore you guys to death. Let's put this all together. And we're going to use, so we have our male, 30 years of age, 200 pounds, 60 inches tall. We know, based on his activity levels, he's burning 2982 calories a day plus activity. We added an activity already to this. That activity was a 1.5 multiplier. We know that 1 pound of fat equals 3,500 calories. We minus 500 off of this. I know I'm repeating myself, guys, but it's super important you know this. So it's 2482 calories a day. I should be eating real food to get the micro and macronutrients we need in order to lose a pound of fat. On top of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 200-pound guy. We know it's a 1-to-1 ratio with protein, so I need 200 grams of protein, right? We know that protein is 4 calories per gram. We're not including the thermic effect in this. That was just for an example. So we know that's 800 calories, right? Two options on this. We can go the Anthony route, not calculate it. We can go what most people would tell you to do and calculate it. So we'll calculate it. So we're going to minus 800 calories because that's what we need for our proteins. That means 1,682 calories need to be consumed or can be consumed however we want. And I'm going to stress however we want. I hate the pinning the carbs, the fats. There really isn't a difference. You need both. Carbs are energy. Fats help with so many functions with our blood and just a hormone production. You need both, guys. As far as the proportion you do it, just don't go extremes. I'm not a believer 100% fat. I'm not a believer 100% carbs. I think it's all nuanced stuff. It makes absolutely no difference. And I don't think it's going to be bad for you either ways. You need some sort of blend in the middle, and that's whatever makes you happy. And at the end of the day, when it comes to dieting, that is the most important thing. Eat foods you enjoy. Find real whole foods that you enjoy eating, because if you become miserable, you're not going to follow this. And that's going to be way worse than finding something you could stick to for the rest of your life. That's what this is. Eating foods right so you can do it for the rest of your life, not doing something haphazardly. We have 1,682 calories. I can eat whatever I want that has carbs and fats in it because I already took out for my proteins and stuff like that. Whether it's salads or coconut curry or whatever you want. It doesn't even matter time of day. You can eat all that in one meal. You can eat all that in 2 meals. It's whatever works for you, whatever makes you happy, as long as we're staying in the calorical, eating our proteins, you will be better than 95% of people in America. You won't be a damper on society because you're super active, you're healthy. It's ultimately going to be better for everybody. And that's what's important, especially our health. We want to live a long, happy life. We're going to be able to do things when we're 50, 60, 70, 80. I always like to use the reference, and I have a board to finally draw it. If you took quality of life and age, everyone can see quality of life and age, something called in math a standard deviation curve. We've all seen this, right? This is why most people say the best days of your life are between 25 and 45. It's somewhere in this realm here. We're all like, these are the best days of your life. This sucks. That means after 45 is all downhill and we'll start feeling more and more miserable. Instead of living a life like most people as a standard deviation curve, I'd rather live life like a rectangle. My quality of life is always peaked It does not matter what age I die. It's all irrelevant. And I am living my best life until the day I die, whenever that is. What happened to worrying about a slow decline at the end, because that truly is depressing. But anyway, now we know we had a really good understanding of BMR, Basal Metabolic Rate. We know how to calculate it, use AI, or just Google it. And thank you guys so much for joining us on this week's episode of Health and Fitness Redefined. If this was useful for you, please let me know. We'll do plenty more episodes like this. Tactical whiteboard. I love whiteboards, so please tell me you love these and I'll do way more of them with way more examples. Any topics you guys have in mind, reach out. And don't forget, share this show. It's the only way it grows. And thank you so much, guys. Until next time. And remember, fitness is medicine. Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of Health and Fitness Redefined. Please don't forget to subscribe and share this show with a friend, with a loved one, for those that need to hear it. And ultimately, don't forget, fitness is medicine. I'll see you next time.